Brandon, hey, congratulations for Battle of Saipan.
Hi, yeah, thank you very much. And I must first apologize. I'm not in an ideal situation, but the power went out in my neighborhood last night, so I'm in a hotel.
Don't worry, I've done interviews in odd places before, like off the side of the road or at a rest stop, that kind of stuff too. So,
It was pretty close to being that, but hopefully people don't look at the ladies' room sign the whole time.
anyways, so Brandon, tell us where the original idea came from for Battle of Saipan.
So about 10 years ago, I had seen, I don't remember if it was on the History Channel or one of those Discovery or something like that. I'd seen a story about a dentist who was stationed in Saipan as a surgeon named Ben Solomon, who during the final attack on, during the final battle in Saipan had defended his hospital outpost from the incoming Japanese soldiers. And he, was someone who didn't really have combat training and was just kind of an average Joe. And I figured that was a really compelling story. I like stories about, yeah, I'm not necessarily a World War II historian per se, but this particular story like it gripped me because it was just a normal guy fighting insurmountable odds.
So you wrote a story based upon not in this case you did it as a surgeon, not as a dentist.
Right,
And
right.
so
So it's very loosely inspired by Ben Solomon. Victor. Casper's character Vic is loosely inspired by him.
most excellent. So in the sense, because this is a World War II type of story, but as an indie project, it is contained. So how did you want to approach a war movie without an extravagant budget?
Right. I feel like this is something where there are hints at the greater conflict around. For instance, there's a scene where the nurse talks to the wounded soldier and mentions someone who he may know who she had met in Pearl Harbor. So I tried to put breadcrumbs of the greater conflict there so that the story would still feel big, even though we're largely just at this hospital throughout the running time.
So where was this all filmed at for
Um,
yourself?
in and around Bangkok, almost exactly a year ago. We shot it last December. It was shot in Bangkok has tons of like empty warehouses and factories and stuff like that. So the majority of the action actually takes place in what was a rice factory at one point. And some of the scenes you can actually look behind them and see these gigantic silos. Um, but I figured that it looked like something that these buildings looked like something that could match like something that was makeshift, that the American soldiers had showed up in and made into their own. And other than that, all the jungle scenes were filmed about 2 hours outside of Bangkok, so entirely in and around there.
Well, I guess the environment is pretty close to Saipan in itself.
Yeah. Actually, it is. Someone, I forget who it was, but someone had actually compared some of the foliage of Saipan versus Thailand, and it was pretty similar.
So was it difficult to transform these Bangkok factories into sort of like a hospital setting now for yourself?
I think we had some creative liberty because there's very few photographs of these actual outposts. Like they did exist, and there were buildings that were turned into or retrofit into hospitals. But the nature of the story is that none of these locations were hospitals at all. So there was a great creative liberty to be able to just find buildings that were suitable and from the era that could still be outfitted with that look. Also, the production team, the production designer and art departments in Thailand are really kind of second to none. So anything that was too modern or too slick and didn't feel lived in, they were able to easily age that made it appropriate for the piece.
How was the filming in Bangkok? Because I know Bangkok, Thailand has like strict filming permits and so on, but I guess it has nothing to do with Thailand, so it should have been an easy process.
Yeah, I'm not because so there's a production services company that the producer is part of called Benetton Films that handles most of that. But to my understanding, they essentially do a translation of the screenplay. They make sure that there's nothing negative about the Thai government or people, and then you're pretty free beyond that. But the I don't know if there's anything beyond the process. I know there's permitting and stuff like that, but thankfully I didn't have to deal with it.
Most excellent. Now, one of the most amazing things after watching this film is the action scenes. There is plenty of action once the combat gets started. Let's first talk about the how did you handle the outdoor jungle action scenes?
So that opening scene that you're probably referring to was on the very last day of shooting. When the American troops are ambushed, and then it ends up being the two of them. Well, mostly Louis Mandylor's character is fighting them off. So at that point, everyone had a good feel of each other. Louis is an actor I've known for many, many, many years, and we've done many projects together, and we have that trust. So I really know his capabilities as a fighter. Most people know him from the Big Fat Greek Wedding movies, but before he came to America to live with his brother Costas, he was a like world ranked boxer. So he's someone who can really move and works well with the choreographers, with the other stuntmen, and he just makes things really authentic and brutal. Our stunt coordinator Poi, he actually he's worked on some other movies shot out there, like a Triple Threat with Scott Adkins and Iko Uwais and Michael Jai White, and the Meg and stuff like that. And he and I, we didn't really have any language barrier or anything. We just clicked instantly. So just the chemistry with everyone was really pretty phenomenal. And we didn't have a long shooting schedule, and we had all of these really elaborate scenes, and I didn't want to undercut anything. And luckily, everyone really stepped up to the plate. I have to also give credit to the DP, Nico De La Ferre, who understood this really particular shooting style that I have for fight scenes, like following the move and shaking the camera a little bit with impacts. And he really just, he's like, okay, cool, let's do it. And he like executed it flawlessly. So it was really just one of those great coincidental meetings of minds that made all of this executable in such a short amount of time. I don't want to say how many days, but anyone who follows these mid-level action movies knows that we don't get a lot of time to do them these days.
I do have to give credit to your DP too. I mean, and your cinematographer for a lot of the action. Like you say, the cinematography was amazing. I mean, I really loved one of the scenes where the guy gets flipped and you flip the camera at the same time. I mean, I had to rewatch that over and over again. I was like, wow, that looked awesome.
That was really like a testament to Nico and I just getting excited about everything. And the stuntman who actually did that fall, I think, did it 6 or 7 times. And after each one, just gonna, okay, we're doing it again. All right. So I mean, the work ethic is really just incredible with everyone. Plus, like I said, just the chemistry really helps so much. Like even if you're having a tough day, if everyone's getting along, they'll make it an easy day.
And how did you want to handle like close combat, like in hallways and in tight factory corners? I mean, that must have been really tough to handle.
Some of those scenes. There's another scene that's so there's the three main guys. There's Lewis's character Porter, Casper's character Vic, and then Connor, who's the friend of Vic. There's a scene towards the end of the second act of the movie where he's shot, and there's bonsai in the hallways, and Lewis and Casper are on either side, trying to get out, to get downstairs with the rest of the team. That scene we actually probably shot in 90 minutes. So it's really, that was probably on after about a week. And I think at that point, everyone had gelled so well at that point that things that would seem to be really complicated or challenging just weren't. Like it was really kind of a dream experience. I can't say enough good things about everybody out there.
Wow. Now tell us because you mentioned Lewis a few times, but we have to also give credit to Casper, who is the main lead, and Jeff, was terrific. Tell us about recruiting Casper and Jeff into a film like this.
So Casper, I don't think a lot of people know, is actually really an adept fighter. Like one of his closest friends is Mark Dacascos, who's also his sensei. So he trains under him, and some people may remember that Casper played Johnny Cage in the Machinima Mortal Kombat series. and he's actually the real deal. Like he can really do the stuff. So he was just as adept as Louis, as jumping right in and going for it. And Jeff Fahey was really kind of a blessing. He's one of those kind of actors who, and anyone who's been on a set will understand this. Like he'll look at the page and be like, "Well, I don't think I'll say this, but what if this guy said it?" And I just love actors like that, where he likes to convey more just with his eyes, and especially Jeff's eyes. He can convey a lot because that's kind of his trademark. But he's one of those actors that just gives and gives and gives and is really all in. Once again, it's just a matter of the chemistry with everybody. Everyone got along, and we were like this family unit the entire time.
And I do want to give the greatest credit to your extras. I can't believe you probably gathered so many Thai extras to fall down, or as everyone gets shot left and right. I mean, that's terrific.
Guys, it was. So these are all part of Boy's team, and I believe they're part of a greater stunt team called Sang Stunt in Thailand that works on all the big movies out there. One of the very first fight scenes we did, so we ended up shooting the climax of the movie in the basement first. Those were the first 2 days. So one of the first fight scenes we did was towards the very end, and Casper knocks out 2 more guys in the basement with his hammer. And we didn't have a lot of time to shoot that. And I remember looking over and seeing Poi with his team just like going crazy with the hammer in the corner. I'm like, oh yes, it's gonna be awesome. So they just enjoyed everything. Like just watching them was a pleasure, and just working with them was amazing. And I can't wait to do it again.
Is your process typically shoot the hardest scenes first and then go to the easiest?
So I didn't make the schedule. So if I have any say, what I normally like to do is shoot scenes where it's like if it's a movie where there's kind of an ensemble, I like to get all the actors together so that they can really just kind of get their chemistry and build that rapport. In this, I think it was just because the availability of locations, we had to really jump in head first and shoot the climax right off the bat, and we really needed more time. And I remember stressing about it, but everyone else was really happy. And then watching the movie now, once again, I don't want to say how quickly we shot the climax, but you don't really think about it. You don't think about the schedule, or you don't watch it thinking, oh, they may have shot this in just a couple of days. Hopefully.
Well, you completed the challenges, so no complaints here. So what's up next for you, Brandon?
So I have another movie coming out through Saban that Casper and Louis are also in with Nikki Whalen, called The Flood, which is sort of like Hard Rain meets Crawl. If so, make what you will with that. And then I have another with Louis that shot literally weeks before we did Saipan, called Breakout, which is sort of a Rambo First Blood meets Die Hard. And specifically Rambo First Blood, because that was more like a survival movie, and that actually comes out in the spring. I can get rid of Louis, by the way. I'm stuck to him.
Well, I'm glad I seen this movie and talked to him. I know I spoke to just last month. I spoke to Devani Pin, and she told me about this project that from Bangkok that she did, and apparently this is it.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah.
So most excellent. Well, hey, thank you very much for speaking to us about the Battle of Saipan. I'm actually from Thailand myself, so I love the filmmakers that make films overseas, and this is a terrific one.
Yeah, I will say that getting there, filming had just opened up after the pandemic. And it was a nightmare getting there because no one at each airport really knew the COVID restrictions of the next place. But by the time we got to Thailand, everyone just welcomed us with open arms. Travel just, forgot all about it. It was great. So they made it all better.
Most awesome, and I hope you enjoyed it, the country itself, outside of filming.
Yeah, absolutely. The second movie I did, The Flood, was also shot there, and I actually came a few weeks early, so I got to see a little more of it.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we get to talk to you again about your future movies. Can't wait, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.